he explains how like the first Christian preachers, how they were, selling Christianity, and then there was the second generation of Christian preachers, then the third generation of Christian preachers, and how the ideas and the motivations and everything gets lost in each generation, and then eventually down the road, it's kind of like the starting point. We don't even remember where this started, but we do know that the preachers are making a living off of this stuff, right?
So, someone like Thomas Paine is a very important figure for like the history of biblical scholarship. He wasn't a biblical scholar himself.
Right.
But these 18th century English deists mainly led to the development of biblical scholarship and the scholarship in early Christianity, especially in Germany, as it turns out, but then also in England and France and eventually in America. If you want to know what was really going on in Christianity, you don't want to rely on what they have to say because they're at the very beginning. It'd be like, if you're going to be studying what evolutionary biologists think today, you definitely have to start with Darwin. But you can't base your views of evolutionary biology on Darwin. You've got to see what we've found since then, because even though Darwin was a genius, there are other geniuses who are standing on his shoulders. Mm-hmm. And so he opened the way for people to learn more and more and more. But it'd be silly to assume that like everybody now agrees with what he was saying then, because they don't. And it's the same with any field. If you look at the giants because they're just absolutely amazing and they make these breakthroughs. But if you want to see what we know now, both on the basis of new discoveries and new ways of analysis and deeper analysis by experts, then you have to go to the modern experts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think one of the most profound things that I took away from that book was that it is the gift of reason that gives man the ability to discover God in the first place, because it's impossible. Like, we didn't come from nothing, right? We go backwards in time. Like, I came from my parents came from their parents. Like, things don't just appear out of thin air. So it is just by us being as intelligent as we are, we have to understand that we can't appear out of thin air. There has to be some sort of higher power, right? Without that gift of reason, we don't have that.
Well, that's what these.
So it's like the human brain. There's something ancient in the human brain through evolution or whatever it is that makes it wired to be dependent on believing in a higher power.